All right then. When you come back to people talk about the days of events. People talk about living in today's environment. Talking about situations, surroundings. People often get confused with what they think is supposed to be as opposed to what is, and adjusting to that which is. Sometimes they try to make their environment more about what they expect instead of adapting to what is. Do you find yourself this way at times, dear?
Yes.
People sometimes confuse their illusion of what they think it's supposed to be as opposed to what is. And then they find themselves swimming an uphill battle because they think it's supposed to be a certain way, but it's not. They see themselves living a certain life, a certain way, but the reality is they're presented with certain avenues that they've designed for themselves long before they got here. And they don't understand why it's not working out the way they like it to work out. That's because their life was predetermined to a certain degree before they got to the planet in the physical form. It was, in essence, a contract that was written long before they received their incarnation to the earth plane. You understand?
Yes.
And by not understanding that, trying to work against that, they find themselves in difficult situations and they don't know how to adapt to that, you see. We are here to explain why and how to adapt. Why life is the way it is to a certain degree, and how to understand how to comprehend or navigate that path. If one is out of alignment with self, one has difficulty navigating that path. So in order to understand that navigational path, or understand how to get in line with that path, it is best to sit in silence. It is best to go within, and that which is true will stay, that which is false will go away. It's simple. But one must understand and follow heart. Follow the inner guidance, the feeling. So when one asks, what is my place in life? Sit, be calm, feel for what comes. Do not think for what comes, feel for what comes. And then align yourself with that feeling, and that feeling will take you in the direction that is most advantageous for your directional path. Do you understand?
Yes.
So instead of trying to figure out where one fits, or why isn't this not working out and how we would like it to work out, delve into the essence of silence and let the feeling of what it is that you're supposed to be doing take you in that direction. You understand?
Yes.
So don't ask the question in the head. Feel the question in the heart. In the feeling of the essence of the awareness of all things that is being presented. What is it that we would like to do? What is it that we would like to be? Where would it like to go? And then we sit in that silence and we just feel. most of the questions that we have about our life, you must go back to when you were the age of 2. That is when one starts to really prepare for this journey. There is an understanding from the age of 0 to the age of 2 of a sort of continuing accumulation of synchronizing energetic vibration to environment. By the time reaches the age of 2, they are pretty much ready for what is ahead. And by that time, the path, if you will, is presented. Sometimes it's earlier. Most of the times, it is around the age of 2. The path is already designed and presented, but we might not have the awareness to see it nor understand it. Most parental people do not have the understanding or awareness to see it as well, because they have not been taught. Your society is not predicated on instincts. It is predicated on thinking. Therefore, thinking, although useful, gets in the way of instinctual awareness. You understand?
Yes.
So if you're wondering what your path is, if you are out there wondering where you shall live, what you should be doing in your path, I'd like to take you back to the age of 2, if one can go back that far. What was your initial thoughts, your initial ideas? What was your initial purpose, path back then? What is it that you wanted to do back then? If not, remember, then sit in silence. Wait for answers of feeling, not thinking. You'll understand the difference the more you do it. And then the feeling comes. You see, you sit in that momentary reality of silence. Most people have too much chatter in their brains to understand the speakness of the heart. You understand?
Yes.
It is in the comfort of the heart, the feeling within the heart. All answers lie, not in the brain. The brain is simply a facilitation of what the heart wants to achieve. You understand? Nothing more, nothing less. It is not the awareness of the individual that exists within the brain. It is in the heart. People, doctors, get this incredibly wrong. They think near-death experiences is the brain dying, striving for oxygen. The consciousness was not ever in the brain. The consciousness is in the heart. Hard for people to understand, but it's in the heart. You understand? Not the brain. The heart is the facilitation of the feeling that embodies the whole body. The body is the consciousness of the individual, not the brain. The heart is the origination of the consciousness. You understand? It is a metaphoric reality to the consciousness of all things. The heart represents love. Love is the consciousness of your reality. You understand? Not the brain. The brain is a facilitator of the heart's desire. Most people, the heart is the reality of all things. If you want truth, go to the heart. If you want essence of awareness, go to the heart. If you want to know where your purpose is, go to the heart. You understand? Not the brain. The brain is facilitator of the heart. Simple as that. How does one go about to achieve that? Right? And the universe will provide that. You don't need to know the how. The life path is already laid out. Your purpose is already laid out. Can it be altered? Of course I can. People do it all the time. But unfortunately, they alter it to the incorrect direction that was originally presented. Because they think and act instead of feeling and act. You understand? Questions for us, if any?
No, actually, you already answered it.
Hey, which was that?
Well, when you first started, you said you had a contract before you came in, and you strayed from the contract. My question was, how do you know? If you have no remembrance of the contract, how do you know you're straying from it?
Aye.
But you already answered that the meditation and going inward to your heart is how you.
Aye.
So all I had to do was continue to listen, and you answered it.
That's a good example for the people out there that are listening, right?
Right?
Feel, silence, and allow. Feel, silence, and allow. And your answers most of the time will be answered before you even ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the question was out there in the ethers, we have already heard that question, seen that question, felt that question, understood that question, answered question, and answered question.
Yes.
Specificality is another form of understanding. Without specificality, most people find themselves confused because they're not specific enough in their own desires or well-being, you see. By not being specific with their own intentions, the information is scattered, therefore not ready for movement. You understand? Why are you not doing anything? God not help. God is not confused. God is not illusioned into the confusion of non-specificality. You understand? God is specific. Therefore, if God is specific, yet individual is not specific, the information rebounds in a non-specific way. You see, it is confusion.
Right.
So by being still, one can become specific. One can have an understanding that best suits the reality. And then you would find this non-specificality go away, dismiss itself. And other areas of your life become determined with intentionality. A focusedness that allows one to be driven to their purpose and their path because they see it clearly, right? If a batter for a baseball team goes to the plate and they are unaware of the pitcher, unaware of what the pitcher might be throwing, doubtful if they can hit, most times batter is out because they are not committed and determined with purpose for their objective, which is to what? Hit the ball. Correct?
Yes.
Other examples play out in life as well. When one becomes specific, one understands purpose, one is committed to it, they believe in it, they move towards it. So, one does not know, go back to the age of 2. Remember, if one has difficulty, sit, silence, path be laid before thee. Thank you. Oh. Wow there. Thank you there. Quite interesting individual there, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
A little bit different characteristic of the collective, but nonetheless the collective. Metatron, if you will. A unique individual. Quite interesting environment you got here now. I don't know if we like the chair here though. We might want to face the chair differently. Might take some adjustment. It's a bit bright, you see. We got some sunlight coming in from this way. That's all. It's a bit bright. We might want to put something over the eyes then if we continue to do this from this position. We like the single chair, don't you know? But the brightness is a little bit too bright. I will say. With that then there, Darren, we make our leave to you now. Love the place though. You know, it's an interesting environment. You got hard floors, you know. You can soften it up with some carpets and things of that nature. But I like the hard floors. It reminds us of the old days. We used to have wood floors, you know. Back in the day, about 3500 BC, you know. That's when the first ordination for what you see today as John came through. But around quite some time, you know, came from a far distant planet called Lyrian. Lyrian is a star clusters that branched out long ago to formulate colonization, if you will, throughout the universal spectrum. But the universal spectrum is not what people think, you know. Universal spectrum is built upon the creativity of the individuals and the mindset of the collective consciousness that is designed to create it. Did you know this, Terry? People often mistake travel through space as if it is a long distance, as in travel through time. But it's more of a dimensional shift, if you're real. Time travel doesn't exist in what people think time travel. You think more of in linear terms. You have to think more dimensional terms. If all things are happening simultaneously, then all things are happening dimensionally simultaneously. You understand?
Yes.
You're not really going back in what one would call time, but is shifting your dimensional vibrational frequency to attune that which is the year that you wish to see. Now, some would say that the future is yet to be determined, but the future is based on a fundamental reality of what currently exists to what the situation might be in the attempted reality of the future. That doesn't mean that it couldn't be changed, but it's based on the fundamental realities of what one has done in the past to what is one does in the future, thusly creates the present and the future itself. You understand?
Yes.
Two are the same. So it's a potentiality what could exist. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to exist, but it's a potentiality. Also, people get misinterpretation about the past. All it does is create an alternate dimensional reality. It doesn't mean that you're changing anything. It doesn't mean you're changing the past. If one were to go back to the dimensional reality of the frequency of, say, 1939, let's say, right? And they were to say what you would call alter something. People say that alters the present then. It doesn't. You see, all things are happening simultaneously. So what it does is create an alternate dimensional frequency reality. Does it make sense?
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that it has to be real or that it needs to exist in the fundamental present. You understand? Presence is only based on the fundamental reality of what one is doing at the current moment, the current time. Right? The future is predicated upon the current, past, and present understanding of what one potentially might do based on the past and present and current reality. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So they take themselves way out of the frequency of the linear aspect. So if one wishes to, let's say, move forward in time, what they're doing is they're actually going to a potentiality of what might occur, not necessarily what will occur. So based on the fundamental realities of what has occurred in the past and what is occurring in the future and the present, what do you think might happen in the future? It's easy to predict, you see, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to predict. So is your path laid out for you? To a certain degree, yes, it is. It's laid out to you to the fundamental reality of all things and the purposefulness of what is it that you're trying to do based upon your current contract situation. You understand? But one sways from that when they begin to think they should be doing something different other than the purposeful past, thus creating a future that is not congruent based on their contract. But that doesn't mean it has to be. You understand? So we come to help guide. There are many people out there. John is a guide to help people take them into the what is, keep them, direct them to the path, save them from that which you would call the death process and the understanding of the death process, so they don't need to go through a lot of that sort of called agony, if you will, and they can relieve themselves of that in the present. People often mistake enlightenment as some sort of evolutionary reality, but enlightenment is already here. You already have it, you see. There's no need to change, just become aware. So, the future is yet to be set. Its determination is mostly based on what you would call the present and the past thought. You understand? But it can be changed. You see, it doesn't have to be. So there is nothing predetermined or predicted. It's predictability, yes, but it does not need to be. You understand? It does not need to be. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense to you? Live in the moment of now. Enjoy the moment of now. Exist in the moment of now. And allow yourself to just be truly present in the moment of the now. And allow that feeling to dictate your outcome for potential future events. But try not to live in the past or live in the future. Live in the now. The right now. Here and now. That's it. Be still. Listen. And be. Thank you, dearie. Peace to everybody out there. To the understanding of all things, we wish to make our leave to you now. Thank you for listening.